Good day, everybody, and welcome to my minimalist guide for killing Rathis, the Rex Matriarch of range. I would actually like to start this video right away by saying that Rathis is my least favorite of the matriarchs to kill at this particular level of skills, abilities, and gear. This is because although Rathis is not particularly tough, the fight can take a while because Rathis has a big healing mechanic and is really a DPS check of a boss. To do this very comfortably and in a timely manner, you should have, close to best in slot melee gear. Not to kill Rathis in general, but just to make it worth the time. Otherwise, Rathis actually takes twice as long or more than the other two matriarchs if you have equivalent gear in the other combat styles. So, I just want to start by saying that, unless you're really going for Rathis kills for whatever reason, or whatever unique draw Rathis has that the others don't, I would honestly suggest the other matriarchs as they are easier to deal with. However, if you're intent on killing Rathis, here we go. So you do need, for starters, to be using melee to kill Rathis. Much like the Dagannoth Kings, the matriarchs only take damage from the combat style that they are weak to. I recommend tier 85 melee to be comfortable. You might notice here that I don't actually have that. I have a tier 85 Tetsu Katana and a tier 79 Bane offhand longsword. This is because this is an Ironman account yet, and I don't have anything better for the offhand yet. Armor, I have a mix here of tier 70 and tier 88, Tetsu and Barrows. You can get away with pretty low tier armor here because all the Rex Matriarchs really have really high accuracy, so I don't think they ever really splash on you if you're wearing high tier armor. Other than that, as far as gear, there is one strong suggestion on my end, that is the Scrimshaw of Vampyrism. If you are an Iron account, that means at least level 92 fletching to make this thing, and the 4 scrolls from player reports to unlock it, so that can take a while. If you're not an Iron account, it is honestly worth buying the Scrimshaw of Vampyrism to get through a few of these kills. They will heal you a lot. The other requirement that I want to go over is prayer. So you can see that I'm soul splitting. I don't think it's necessary, to be honest. I played around with soul splitting versus just deflecting range. Seems to be about the same. Soul splitting seems to be maybe a bit better, but to be honest, if you really wanted to, you could pray range, have a Vampyrism aura active, and then add a Scrimshaw Vampyrism on top of that, and probably not need to eat. Although Rathis does have some annoying mechanics that deal a lot of damage to you, and compared to the other matriarchs, I find myself having very low health here much more of the time, so I don't know. It might just be that my melee setup is not great for this. But with tier 85 weapons, like I said, you should be doing better than me here. And I'm still doing okay. For abilities and all that stuff, that's all I have to say. I have entirely basic melee abilities here, so if you have anything better than this, especially if you're not an Iron and you can buy some of the ED2 abilities or things like that, you'll already be doing much better. But basic melee abilities will get you through this fight as well. The other requirement for this fight, or the final requirement, is a shield or defender. Shield is much better than defender I brought here because it will heal you for much more. Although it's a bit tricky. The other two matriarchs actually have mechanics that are very easy to resonance for big heals. Rathis has a weird one. So let me just get into the mechanics. It'll be easier to explain. We'll start there. Rathis will do 3 auto attacks at the beginning of the fight, and then drop a large thing of poison on you. Oh yeah, the other hard requirement for this fight is anti-poison. Definitely have one of those, or you'll be taking a ton of damage. Sorry, that one slipped. Anyways, after 3 ranged auto attacks, Rathis will drop a poison bomb on you that makes 2 large puddles of poison. One of them will be on top of you all the time, and the other will be farther away. It is in your best interest to absorb these puddles of poison, definitely after using an anti-poison. You'll see that you take various small splashes of poison damage as you're doing that. My suggestion is to absorb only one of these puddles and ignore the other one. The reason being that the other one is typically out of Rathis' melee range. And if you stay out of Rathis' melee distance for too long, he will do a charging melee attack that hits you for, I think, several thousand. So it's really just not worth it. After a few more auto attacks or a few more cycles of auto attacks, Rathis will occasionally throw in a melee auto attack that has very high accuracy and actually hits very hard. There might be a certain pattern to it, or there might be different patterns. You can check the wiki, or if I'm a good YouTuber, I'll post the pattern from the wiki here now. So you can keep track of that and try to resonance the melee hits as they are particularly heavy. But after a while, Rathis will absorb the poison, whatever poison is left, back into its body. And this heals it for a lot. Any patch of poison that has not been absorbed or touched at all will heal Rathis for 35,000 life points. And that is greatly reduced if you absorb one of the poison piles, obviously. So that is why it is in your interest to absorb at least the poison pile that lands on top of you. Otherwise, every time Rathis does this healing maneuver, Rathis would heal for 70,000. And even with a higher level setup, that's a lot of DPS to make up. So what this basically means is that this fight is a big DPS, unloading everything on Rathis. I do highly suggest using Berserk as often as possible to maximize damage. You should be able to heal it back. But that's why Rathis is very annoying. Even if you resonance properly and deal with mechanics like that, it'll just take a while because periodically Rathis will heal for at least 35,000. If your level is, if your account gear, stats, level abilities are similar to mine here, you'll probably go through at least 2 of these healing cycles, if not 3, if you're not used to Rathis yet and killing a little bit slower. So that's why I say Rathis takes 2 to 3 times longer than the other matriarchs to kill, even though it's fairly easy. One more fun note about the poison piles: every time you absorb the poison, it gives you a stack that lasts 10 seconds, or a little buff that lasts 10 seconds, and enables you to take double damage from everything that Rathis does for those 10 seconds. So have fun with that. One other tip I have aside from that regarding resonance is that you can see a few times I try to resonance the large acid drop, and it doesn't really work. I don't actually know why this is. There's nothing in the wiki or anywhere that says that this attack is not resonanceable, and the other matriarchs do have big attacks that are resonanceable, but from what I'm seeing happen, I think that you need to time your resonance very well if you want to do that, because Rathis will actually hit you with another auto attack after dropping the acid bomb that hits you like just before the acid bomb. So that kind of steals your resonance and you still get hit. So I recommend looking at the attack cycles and seeing when Rathis will do a melee attack if you want to deal with that and resonance those, because the melee attack of Rathis actually is much stronger than his range attack and will account for most of your food eating. And whenever the poison bomb comes down, I actually recommend much more switching to deflect range if you're not already, and then using devotion. That seems to help eliminate that damage altogether. So that's all there is to Rathis. It is pretty simple. The mechanics are actually the simplest out of all 3 matriarchs. It just makes Rathis the slowest to deal with. So technically, if you're able to do more than 35,000 damage with melee between Rathis' healing intervals, you can kill him. It's just a matter of how much time you want to take and how much food you want to eat. Alright, that's all. If you enjoyed this guide, if you found it useful, please consider liking and subscribing. That helps me grow my channel quite a bit, and helps me to put out more content like this for you guys. So I will catch you next time. Thanks for watching.